Barbara Wright, a pretty, dark-haired English teacher from Coal Hill School, North London, clenched her fists bravely and held her breath. A whining noise pierced her ears and her stomach floated to the ceiling. She reflected miserably on her inability to cope with space-time travel. Human bodies were not built for it, she told herself. At least not hers. She glanced across the control room at Ian Chesterton, her fellow teacher from Coal Hill. He appeared to be enjoying himself, staring wide-eyed at the jumble of flashing lights which charted their spaceship's descent. They were inside a large hexagonal-shaped control room with white hexagonal-patterned walls. A hexagonal console in the middle of the room supported a transparent cylindrical column which moved slowly up and down when the ship was in flight. Next to Ian, deep in concentration, was the owner of the spacecraft. He was an old man with an upright, alert stance and a dignified expression. He had flowing white hair and mischievous blue eyes. He was dressed like an eccentric Victorian professor. Dark frock coat, winged collar and tie, checked waistcoat and trousers. He carried a wooden walking stick, which he shook vigorously in the air when arguing, which was often. He was known as the Doctor. There was one other person in the spaceship, a young girl of about 15. This was Susan, the Doctor's granddaughter. She was a petite, chirpy girl with short black hair, cut like a boy's, wide saucer eyes and an infectious grin. A pupil at Coal Hill School, she had always been extremely clever and different from the other girls. Intrigued, Barbara and Ian had investigated her home life and discovered she was living with her grandfather in a London police box. The police box, however, was far from ordinary. For a start, it was larger inside than out, a phenomenon accounted for by the laws of time and relative dimensions in space, as Barbara and Ian subsequently learned. The interior of the police box resembled a spaceship, capable of traveling through space and time. It could, moreover, change its appearance like a chameleon to suit any environment. This incredible craft was known as the TARDIS. The Doctor was perfectly at home in it, and treated each nerve-wracking journey like a five-penny bus ride. He rarely landed up where he intended, but this only added to his enjoyment. The Doctor did not suffer fools gladly, and his insatiable appetite for solving scientific problems always took precedence over more mundane matters. In this respect, Barbara felt he was not quite human. Moreover, Susan rarely spoke of the Doctor's origins, or of how he came to possess his extraordinary spacecraft. Thus, although the two teachers had grown to like him, an air of mystery always clung to the Doctor in their eyes. Barbara's thoughts were interrupted by a violent juddering as the TARDIS jolted to a standstill. "A perfect landing," chortled the Doctor. Barbara looked anxiously at Ian. Where were they this time? Ian leaned over the console. He was dressed in a flowery Chinese jacket, acquired at the court of Kubla Khan, which rather undermined his air of schoolmasterly interest. "Any radiation?" he asked the Doctor casually. "Nothing to speak of. The counter's hardly registering. Let's see what the place looks like." The Doctor fiddled with the scanner switch. A picture appeared on the screen. "Oh, look, that's the sea, isn't it?" said Barbara. "Where are we?" They all stared for a moment at the strange-looking coastline. "Can we go outside and look? Please, Grandfather, can we?" Susan begged. Yes, I don't see why not. There doesn't seem to be any danger." "No, I suppose not," agreed Ian doubtfully. He was still staring at the screen. The others waited for an explanation. "Well, when the scanner started, I thought I saw something move, but it was probably just a shadow." "Then let's go outside and look around," said the Doctor. He pressed a button on the console and the doors slid open. The TARDIS had landed on the edge of a beach, and the four travellers emerged into brilliant sunshine. The ocean stretched before them like a piece of vivid green silk. Susan looked longingly at the water. "Do you think it's safe to go for a swim?" The Doctor shook his head. "Not for the moment. We don't know what creatures may be lurking below the surface. Come on."